Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Hey, that worked out nicely. My camera fell down the other day, so I figured it would be way off, but looks like I aimed it correctly. What is this? Second. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. My bitrate just off a cliff. Oh, seems like it's okay though. Let me adjust my seating here. I'm not used to this mouse. Give me all the golden coconuts. I don't know if I've ever gotten 3 before. It's pretty unlikely. It really shouldn't be, but it feels like it's more likely than it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a 5% chance, which is like a natural 1 or natural 20, but I never ever seem to get more than 2. Alright. This through. Endless amount of aged row. Like today is a Friday, south, but first ocean. point I have to stop buying those Iridium sprinklers. Just feels right. I used to always get more, but I've got way more than I'll ever need. Plus, I already have the full stack of 999. It's almost irrelevant at this point. Bananas, mushrooms, stuff. Traveling cart. At some point I have to replace that wood skip. 120 wood skip. I need to start thinking of doing next. Not a whole lot useful here. In fact, happening more and more lately. Got most of what I need. Quite the assortment every time. Alright. Friday, almost noon. Don't need to go to the desert. Need to go to the island. Let's see where my... Okay, that's done, but that's done first time today. So, starfruit should not be ready yet. I'll double check just in case. Oh, it's ready. Okay. Well, if that's the case, I should grab the... one stack of it. That means to plant a whole bunch of starfruit. And it's possible that today I could, in fact, also keg it. So it's going to be a little close. Come on. One of these is gonna give me a golden coconut, right? 1 in 10 chance. Yeah, like that'll ever happen. Finishing this by 5 o'clock seems unlikely at best. But we can certainly try. Worst comes to worst, we just barely don't finish kegs, and then it doesn't matter, because it takes a day longer. The kegs do anyways. So we just finish it tomorrow morning. Okay. So this day is pretty set in stone. I'm not gonna have any time to do anything else. Hopefully tomorrow I can start gathering more bone fragments. First time in a while we don't have a danger in the deep quest. All through winter I had it. Which is great. I need them. Great that they're cropping up when they are. But it gets a little exhausting to go into Skull Caverns every single day. So dangerous compared to like anything else I can do. I'm actually making pretty good time here. I expect I'll be done just before 5 o'clock. Be a little bit closer. I keep messing up. Off a little bit on the time, that's for sure. Probably finish a little closer to 6, which frankly is not ideal, but the song and the soundtrack always sounds to me like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer a little bit. I'm not a really musical person, so maybe I'm just hearing things that aren't there, but not this one. Just about finished. So about 6 o'clock. Be a little close on getting everything kegged before the end of the day, which is fine. Not like a max money run thing. So as soon as I'm done with this, after kegging, first I want to put away the starfruit. It's and everything else in my inventory too, if I can. Alright, so we've got the rib here. Best path out where I need to go. Oh, I made a mistake. Done here next. Alright, time to keg. Ah. Oh, no. Let me drink. Okay, you know what? I think we're finally to the point where yeah, I don't think I'll be able to fill up all my kegs. Fine with me. Been thinking of using garden pots on the island. It kind of really throws off my crop yields. Sort of, though, not entirely. Need to do some more math on it. I'd like to limit my harvesting to just one day every so often. Not have to harvest starfruit on multiple days. Maybe having 2 wouldn't be so bad. The other option is to switch to fruit. Technically makes more money, but I don't know. I like starfruit better. If I had hyper speed grow, then starfruit would definitely make more money, but it's way too expensive to cover the whole island. And maybe not way too expensive. Expensive enough that it would be definitely annoying to do it. No, now that I'm thinking about it though, it's not like completely impossible now. The problem is it uses a whole stack of radioactive. I am nowhere near to the point where I'm comfortable of using up my radioactive ore like that. I don't even have a full stack of radioactive bars yet. It's too rare. To deal with the bone fragments, it would be annoying, but definitely doable to get the bone fragments. Whatever the third ingredient is, I don't care enough to remember. I think it might be clay. Not important. That'd be easy enough to get. It's all on the radioactive ore, which just don't feel willing to spare that. I'm getting money fast enough as is. It would just be a slight slump. It would just be slightly faster. More than slightly, but not that much faster. The other thing it would do, though, it would actually make me harvest the crops more, which would give me less time for other things. I'd get money faster, but I'd be spending more time on making money. I guess it doesn't really end up mattering in the end. It's not like there's a hard time limit on this run. I'm gonna make money until I need to stop making. I like being efficient, I guess, would be the only thing I really care about there. So, use hyper speed grow. Or I can fill a bunch of gardening pots with deluxe retaining soil, so they never run out of water. And then the star fruit for those harvest every 2 weeks. So I would just have 2 separate harvest days. Or I could replace the entire farm, the Ginger Island farm, with deluxe retaining soil, but keep it all the same day. That would like kind of slow down. I made a spreadsheet actually to look at that, and it takes like 200 generations for that to make up for the extra garden pots to make up for the slowdown in actual production of starfruit. So that doesn't really seem worth it to me. Probably will need to do it 200 times, but and it's barely worth the extra effort I put in to make all the garden pots. Oops. Let's see. Well, prop, I was just thinking about that. I've said before it's the tea set, but that's really just time consumption. So I can only get 1 tea set a year, and I can't even get 1 a year. So that one is the hardest time-wise. Every other item I could at least get 1 per year. But as far as difficulty, it's kind of hard to say, because every item I've figured out kind of how I'm going to get it. Just a matter of actually going through the motions to do it. I guess, in a sense, radioactive ore in bars just takes... First of all, it takes a lot of time because it's pretty rare. But it also just takes a lot of actual effort / skill, because I have to actually go in the mines and get it all and do it in a manner where I don't die. And then there's also items that you can only buy from behind the Q door, so only with Q gems. And there's quite a few items like that. There's the deconstructor and the Jubino chest. But for both of those, again, that's just getting enough gems to do that, which is mostly just going to take time. It's kind of hard to say what the hardest item to get. Do you have, like, more specifically what you're interested in hearing about? Because I can pretty much talk about any item in the game at this point from heart, because I've thought about it so much. It doesn't look like we're quite going to finish tonight. Which is fine. Not in a big hurry. Last time I did it, I was in a hurry too. Like to finish the row. It's unfortunate that everything now. Go. Ooh, excuse me. Another really annoying one, and the actual only reason that I'm still making all this money, or kegging all this wine and everything, is I need a bunch of statues of Endless Fortune, which are the statues you can buy from the casino for $1 million each. Unfortunately, they stack, so that's 1 billion gold that I need. Pretty much everything else in the game I've already bought and paid for. There's one exception, but that'll go pretty quick. So it's almost entirely just the statues. Yeah, it's not too bad, because I do need money for other things. So I'd always be needing to make money for things like explosive ammo that I need all the time. And I'm trying to think what else I buy. Just bombs in general. I need to buy a lot of those, because a lot of the artifacts can only be gotten from bombing the mines / using the hoe on the mines in the dirt. Well, not the only way you can get them, but the fastest way you can get them. So I need a lot of bombs for that. So this is just some things I need to buy every so often, so it's useful to be getting money. I have 5 star fruit left. Crazy. Okay. Oh yeah, sure. So the tea set is... there's only one way to get the tea set, and that's as a gift from the Feast of the Winter Star. So the Feast of the Winter Star is only once per year, and you only have a small chance of actually getting the tea set. Luckily, more recently, I found out a way to up the chances quite a bit. You can't change who's gifting you for the Feast of the Winter Star, but if you reset the day, you actually change the gift that you get. Randomizes from a pool that they can give you. So, for instance, last year I got Pam, but the first time I went to the Feast of the Winter Star, she didn't give it to me. She gave me something else. And the second time as well. But luckily on the third time, I had to reset the day 3 times. Well, just twice actually. The third time she did give me the tea set. But there are some characters that can't give you the tea set. The children and then a few other random NPCs like Robin and Clint. So if that happens, I just can't get it that year. There's actually a part on my spreadsheet. Let's see here. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so on the spreadsheet here, I'm tracking when I get... These are all the items that I can only get yearly. So there's only a few of them. But basically, each one of these I can only get once per year. And this is just to remind me when and where to get them. Hopefully I'll have it memorized at some point, but I have a pretty bad memory for some things. So the tea set, I only have a chance of getting. So you see, this is year 21. Last year was year 23. I only made this fairly recently. So on year 22, it wasn't actually possible for me to get the tea set. So I had to skip that year. This was just an accident. Oh, that's cool. I didn't even notice I did that. But you can see that I actually have a few extras of these rare crows compared to these two. So if I missed a year with this one, it wasn't that big of a deal. The tea set. Oh, this is correct. Solve this right now. Decoration. There we go. All these. I think. Yeah, so I have 4 tea sets right now, but it takes forever to get them. I didn't know that the tea set stacked for a very long time until fairly recently, because I'd only ever gotten one of them, and it's listed as decor, so I just assumed it was like all other decorations like furniture, because you use it like furniture. You can just put it on a table and it looks nice, but it stacks, so it's one of the harder items for sure. Okay. So that is the tea set situation. And there's one other item like that, but I've kind of excluded it from my thoughts because it's just not possible to get a lot of them without a lot of... And that's this empty capsule right here, or the strange capsules. That's just luck. Eventually, once I'm done with everything else, I'll have my farm clear because I'm going to need to sleep plenty of years. So it's just kind of luck whether I get those or not. I've just been kind of ignoring them. That and the stone owls. The stone owls are much more common, so it's actually pretty likely that I'll get 999 of those, but The capsules, I don't even know if you can get that many. I don't know enough about them. Okay, on the fish. As far as I'm aware, there is no cap on years. My guess is it would be just the integer limit, which is like 2 billion something. So I'm not too worried about running out of years. I might be worried that if no one's gone to them before, there might be some kind of weird bug that after a certain point of time, it just stops working. I'm hoping that won't be the... Yeah, I'm assuming it's the integer limit as well. But I'm hoping that there isn't any kind of loss of memory or something like that once you get up into the high years. I won't have to worry about that for a while. I'll be done with everything except for the yearly items before year 50 or 60 probably. Because most things, even like the fish, they take a long time, but they don't take forever. Oh, I'm not gonna make you sleep a whole bunch of years. I think there's a mod that lets you skip ahead in years. Like many, many, many years. And so I know, I think Dangerously Funny actually made a video where he went to like year 100. So I know that works at least, although it was a mod, but I think it's the only thing that the mod changed was like making it so you can choose what year you were on. Oh, you can actually just look at the code? Oh, that would be awesome, yeah. Yeah, my thought would be just the integer limit. Because that's pretty much how everything else in the game is coded. Anything that's infinite is coded like that, at least. Yeah, the only thing I'd be worried about is something that's not obvious in the code, like a bug that, like, as the years go on, it, like, stresses out the file or something. It makes it harder for things to load. Because I know for a fact that, you know, sometimes my file load times are really long. Sometimes I'll sleep and it'll take like a minute before the loading screen stops and it saves. And I'm wondering if that's just because I have so many things on my farm. But I have no idea. So if that continues to get longer and longer, it would be a problem. Yeah. On the plus side, I'm not actually going to be adding that much more stuff to my farm. Like, I pretty much maxed it out size-wise. And the number of items, while they're obviously going to increase, I've actually gotten the bulk of the stuff I need. The only things I need now are just things that take a lot of time. So I shouldn't be adding that many more items. I'm just worried that, like, if the years go up to a level that no one's ever tested for, I'm sure Concerned Ape didn't even test for, like, year 900 or something, that there's, like, some kind of memory leak or something that would cause a problem. Right now, I'm just hopeful that that's not the case. Worst comes to worst, I'll tweet at him and maybe he can fix it. That'll be way down the line, though. Alright, today is a Saturday, so desert isn't needed. Go straight to the island. Yeah, I've definitely noticed that. He, yeah, for the Stardew's anniversary, which was, like, last week, I saw he, like, quote tweeted a bunch of very small Twitter users that were just, like, thanking him, and that was really cool to see. And yeah, obviously he helped host the Stardew Valley Cup and everything, too. And put up the prize money for it, which is insane. Oh, that's a fun one I didn't mention. So the island added a few new fossils to the game, or artifacts really. One of which is a fossilized tail, which you can only get from panning, and only in that area. and they do stack, so it's not too bad. I already have like 50 of them though. It goes pretty quick as long as I just pan every time I go there. Hey, golden coconut. 2? That's just lucky. I forgot about. Thank you. Yeah, it kind of developed out of need, so it's a very interesting kind of farm to look at because it's changed so much over the years. Like, it used to be almost entirely farmland, because at a point I needed to grow all of the different crops. But now I've just been slowly transitioning into mostly fish ponds because I don't really need the space for farming anymore. It's for money, which is useful, but only during one season. So now it's just been slowly filling up with fish ponds. I imagine I'll always keep some room for farming, because it's, I don't know, part of the game. This game is a farming simulator. Feels weird to not have any farming. But pretty soon, not like immediately, but pretty soon it's gonna be mostly fish ponds. Dang it. I forgot explosive ammo. Yeah, I've been slowly filling up every little nook and cranny as well. Pretty much done with farm animals, but I'm still keeping them around. Because I guess I have some sentimental value. I also keep rabbits around for rabbit's feet, because sometimes there's a queue quest to gift rabbits, well, to gift everyone a love gift, and rabbit's feet are the easiest way to do that. And I keep a bunch of golden chickens around just for a little bit of supplemental income. But other than that, well, and ostriches, because ostrich eggs take forever, and I still don't have a stack of them. But that will happen in like 2 years. Takes a really long time. Oh, you're thinking of animation canceling, and that's actually not what I'm doing right now. Although I can do it, I just have to, pretty bad at it is the thing. So this is actually a swift pickaxe. That's why it's moving so fast. But animation canceling looks more like this. I haven't practiced a lot with it because I've had a swift pickaxe for so long. It's not that much faster than having a swift pickaxe. I have done one speedrun before, and I did kind of enjoy it. It just took a while to get everything set up, and I just haven't gotten back to it. I did a boiler room run, and I didn't finish, but the pace I was on would have put me like on the leaderboard, I guess would be the best way to put it. I wouldn't have been last. So I have considered doing it. I probably will at some point. Fun to be on speedrunning leaderboards or something. I don't know if I could be like super good at speedrunning, even if I did it a lot. I won't call it a problem, it's just a thing with my hands that sometimes they don't do what I want them to do. Which is kind of a weird thing to say, I guess, but it's like, I don't know, they don't always work as intended. Sometimes they misclick. In fact, a lot of the time I misclick, which is fine when I'm doing something low stakes, but when I'm doing a speedrun, I assume it would be very frustrating. Yeah, doesn't mean I won't try it, though. I think, I've been thinking about Boiler Room again, just because it's such a short run. I don't really want to do mines just because it's so competitive. I don't think I can do that speed. Boiler Room involves mines, but it involves other things as well. Oh yeah, so right now I'm collecting bone fragments because I need a lot of them. This is by far the best way to get a lot of them. To reset these 10 floors of the mines. Monster Muscon. The one thing I'm afraid of with speedrunning is just that I'm so used to late game. Yeah, there's plenty of runs with just a few people on them. I don't know if I'm that interested in doing marriage. I would think about it, but again, those are like very well optimized runs, and I need a lot of knowledge to do them. Something like Boiler Room, the thing that appeals, for me at least, is that the route is pretty simple. As long as you're not using like super advanced strats. All you really have to do is kind of get lucky a little bit and get to level 80 in the mines in a reasonable time frame. It's just like I hate restarting the game. I've done it a few times to try like speedrunning and try a few other different things, some challenge runs, and it's just like I feel so, I guess the word for it is naked. Like I don't have all the nice little things I have. God, not having a full inventory space, not having the backpacks is like the worst. It's so hard to manage your inventory effectively in this game. I think I was watching Habu or someone recently. I think it was Cordite, actually. He was talking about how inventory management is the most important part of a speedrun. Just because every second you're spending in your menu, you're like wasting that time. You're like wasting 2 seconds because you're spending the time in your menu, and then you also sometimes have to wait for things to happen. Like unlocking the community center only happens after a certain time. Day, and if you pause before that time, you're wasting the time it would take to get to that time, which is a weird thing to say, I guess. But basically, the point being is that managing your inventory is really important. It's not something I'm good at the moment, at least. My main problem with runs like Marriage Percent is just that they're like very, very tight routes. With something like Boiler Room, even if you mess up, like, sure, you won't get the best time, but it's still like completable in a reasonable time frame. You don't like miss important dates or anything like that. Great accuracy. So bone fragments are needed for a few things. Luckily, a lot of them I'm done with, but I'm not done with the really important one. So bone fragments are needed for hyperspeed grow. There's a thing called a bone brazier, which takes 10 per, so that's 10 stacks of bone fragments. That's one I'm working on right now. There's a few other little things that take bone fragments, but they're all done. The one that's left after that, though, is the Ostrich Incubator, which takes 50 bone fragments for every Ostrich Incubator, which I think CA did that just to spite me, because that is just ridiculous. It takes like 40 hardwood, 50 bone fragments, and like 20 cinder shards or something like that for each single Ostrich Incubator. They do stack. I made sure to check. So that's going to be ridiculous. I'm not going to worry about that until like endgame. That'll be like one of the last things I do. So as soon as I get the bone fragments for the Last of the Brazers, I'm going to switch the mines back to the hard mode and focus on getting Fiddlehead Ferns and radioactive ore and Q gems. Because I'm getting already pretty tired of doing this. I've had like 2 straight years almost of farming bone fragments. I was trying to finish by last year, but I got distracted by a few things. A little damaged here. I had some really bad deaths right before the change of the year, so basically like 10 days ago in game. Been really paranoid about dying since. I can always reset the day, but I hate doing it because I lose progress. And usually the things that I lose when I die aren't that important. It's usually worth to continue. I had a really good day where I got some great stuff out of Skull Caverns, but I died right at the end, and I lost my Infinity Gavel. I was very upset about that. I was able to recover it, obviously, but then I had a whole day without my Infinity Gavel, and it's never a great time. Backstory of my name. It's very uneventful. So, there's a subreddit on Reddit called Band Names, and that was one of the top posts of all time. It was the algorithm. It's a pun, obviously, and I really liked it. And it turned out it was available on Twitch at the time I saw it. I never planned to be a streamer, I guess would be the best way to put it. So that was like years ago that I did that. There's another boring story related to that I had to basically get an entirely new Twitch account, and then I eventually got this one back after like a year of using the other one, and I had to like change around the names. It's rather not that interesting, but yeah, now I have this one back again. So I'm glad too, because the other one I used...
Oh, it's a person.
Oh! Well, that's a little bit louder than I think it should be. Thanks for the follow, bro. Actually scared the crap out of me. Here, I'm going to turn those alerts down really quickly. I don't know how to do that. Yeah, I'll figure it out later. Yeah, so the story behind my name is pretty boring. Like, I saw it and I liked it, so I took it. Yeah, when I made my new account that didn't have this name, I had to like switch one of the letters to kind of make it look like this name, and that always really bothered me. So I'm really glad I got this one back. Thanks, I'm glad you do. Part of the reason I started streaming was, one, I was afraid I would get bored, and two, I figured that other people might find this enjoyable, at least to ask questions about a few times, and thought it'd be fun, so... I honestly couldn't tell you what's different about that name compared to mine. Oh, did you make the L into a 1 or an I? Yeah, that's exactly what I did on my other account. I made the L into a capital I. The problem was, when I would type on people's streams, when they had the chat on screen, what they would do was it would show my name and it would just show the AI algorithm, which is obviously not what I wanted. That always annoyed me. You get so many bone sword drops from those skeletons. It's actually a little ridiculous. 333 is not bad. Hey, look, we got a whole stack out of it. So these are my skull bracers right now. I'm at 849. So usually when I get a stack, I celebrate by taking them all. Looks like I won't be able to do that next time though. I only need about 450 more bone fragments to finish that off. Let's see if I can get everything in chests before I pass out. I can get inside. I almost forgot that I put my money in today, or my wine. I guess it's indistinguishable from money at this point. Right, on to Sunday. Because Leah is the best girl. That's why, Leah. So this file is actually the original game that I first played. So this is the first time I ever played Stardew was on this file. So my first pretty much 3 years of this game were a casual playthrough. And I chose Leah. She was my favorite out of everyone. And I'm still married to her 20 years later. Don't need this meal. To grab it all. I have considered divorcing and marrying just to get everyone's 14 hearts scene, and eventually going back to Leah after a lot of erasing memories. When I married Leah, Krobus was not available. I started playing this game back at 1.0, and I'm pretty sure I married Leah in 1.0 of the game. I played a lot when I first got it. So, Krobus existed in the game, but he wasn't available as a roommate at the time. It'd be fun to see Krobus as a roommate. I've been meaning to do like another playthrough just to see things from the beginning, because that would be fun again. And with all the newer stuff in the game involved with playing through again. Because things like the special orders board, I basically was in the very far end game already when I got that, so it was like very easy to do all of those tasks. And the island, I already had everything I needed to basically completely conquer the island. It'd be kind of cool to kind of go into it at a normal pace, but that's for another time if I really want to. Let's see here. It's happened before that my animals have run out of hay. Just not paying attention enough. I like to remind myself a few times a week just to fill that up. Alright, so Sunday is Traveling Cart. You need to go see Krobus today. That's gonna reset. Oh no, that reset today, so pick it up. Oh, because Krobus has things he sells every single day. I need the Solar Essence for one. I think on Sundays, yeah, he sells bat wings. It's not a whole lot of bat wings, but I don't know. I go pretty much every day that I can get some amount of benefit out of going to see Krobus, just because usually it's on my way with the Statues of Endless Fortune. Usually want to pick everything up on the way to Krobus, but yeah, today I didn't really need to go because it was a gift rather than the Omni Geodes I need. But at the same time, Solar Essence, well, it's not free obviously, but it's basically free for me. One thing I didn't mention when you were talking about the hardest item to get, it's definitely it's not golden coconuts, but it's banana saplings. So banana saplings can only come from two places. One is from Dragon's Teeth. You can trade in 5 Dragon's Teeth for 1 banana sapling at the Desert Trader, which is just an awful idea, because Dragon's Teeth are already super rare. But then there's also, yeah, scam, exactly. But there's also, they can drop from golden coconuts. And I have decided that that's the best way I'm going to get a lot of banana saplings. They have a 1 in 7 chance. So in order to get a full stack of banana saplings, I need, depending on my luck, but over that many it's going to average out probably pretty well. I'm going to need, yeah, 7 stacks of golden coconuts plus the 1 stack of golden coconuts for having a stack of golden coconuts. So it's going to be a while before I get those. Luckily there are a few ways to get golden coconuts. One is from dropping from the palm trees on Ginger Island. Another one is, you might have noticed I have blue discus ponds. So I have all the blue discus roe that I need, but blue discus fish ponds have a chance of getting a golden coconut. So I'm keeping them around, and I get on average about like 1.2 golden coconuts per day from them. Oh, hey Scott, what's up? So I'll eventually have enough golden coconuts. The other way is at the Desert Trader. Awesome, good to see you, Scott. Good luck in your tournament. The other way at the Desert Trader is you can turn in 10 coconuts for 1 golden coconut. So I'm kind of just saving them up, and then all at once. So this is 72 right here, if I ever want to turn them in. But it's still going to be a long time before I have all the golden coconuts I need. Today's Sunday, so I gotta go to the Wandering Trader. Nope, nothing I need. Crazy. It used to be the case, every time I go to the Wandering Trader, there'd be something I needed, even if it wasn't like, even if it was barely worth it to buy it. But now it's like rare that I see something I need. It's still worth always going, because there's some items you can only get from the Wandering Trader. Since I'm passing by, these are the items you can only get from the Wandering Trader. Unbranded pickles, juice, and jelly. So obviously you can make pickles, juice, and jelly, but they're always related to a fruit or vegetable. But these ones come from the Wandering Trader, and they don't have any designation. So technically speaking, based on the averages I've gotten so far, it should be the case that I should come out pretty close if I go to the Wandering Trader every single time. Luckily, wine, You get wine from the Statues of Endless Fortune. So I'll have a stack of that probably 2 years. I think there used to be another way to get them, but that was like early on in the game. So there was a few things that Concerned Ape patched out of the game that used to be possible. Here's one of them right here, are these gold quality quartz. Used to be able to get quality for the quartz that you pick up. You can't do that anymore, but I saved some, and they still work in crystallariums. So I got a full stack, so I've actually got both qualities here. So I really only need one. Today is a desert day. In fact, I need to buy some Statues of Endless Fortune today. So over there. Yeah, I didn't get the game when it came out. Sadly, I can't claim that, but I did get it very early on. I think it came out in the spring, and I bought the game in the summer. And then in that summer, I proceeded to do pretty much everything you could, and really want to do a lot more. And that's kind of where the idea of this challenge came from. Like, I want to keep playing this game, but I need a goal. The crazy thing is, back in the day, this was a lot more of an achievable goal. Things like kegs and Statues of Endless Fortune did not stack. So, like, a lot of things, like most of the items that you could craft would not stack in the game. At that point in time, it was actually, like, it was like, oh, this goal seems achievable. Sure, it'll be a little bit tough, especially for the fish, but it's definitely doable. And now it's become like, yeah, it's doable if I spend most of my entire life doing it. Yeah, I'm a little bit sad that at the time I wasn't more involved with like Twitch communities, like the Do Crew. Of course, I don't think they were around at that time, but like, or the speedrunning community. I basically didn't start watching like Stardew runs on Twitch until 2 years ago or so. I can't even remember what prompted it. I was probably getting into speedrunning, and I was like, oh, you know what? I like this game. I wonder if there's any speedruns for this game. I really didn't start watching Twitch streams until Abu and Cord started doing their like challenge runs. I think Tushi was doing like money runs as well, and that was like super interesting to me because it like involved understanding the game completely in a very different way than the challenge I'm doing right now. Like, I earn money, but I don't try to go out of my way to make infinite money or anything. I pretty much go slow and steady, so it was really cool to see the different ways you could break the game, basically. Cordite is a Stardew streamer, just like Habu, and pretty much he's in the Do Crew with everyone else there as well. And right now I think he's doing a 1 billion gold challenge run, which he's gonna beat me to 1 billion gold probably, because he's completely focused on it. He also does speedruns as well. I think he's doing a 4-player speedrun of the community center pretty soon. A few other people. I don't remember exactly what he's doing. Yeah, that's been a problem with me too. Like, I'm subbed to him, and I love watching him, but it's like, oh, you started at 10 o'clock. Well, I have to work in 6 hours, so I don't think I can watch, unfortunately. I'll stop in and say hi and everything, but yeah. So I try to watch him when I'm on break, or a rare time he streams on like a Friday or a Saturday. Yeah. He has a day job, so obviously, just like me, he can't stream during the day like Habu can. I mean, I think streaming is Habu's job. I think he's dropped out of everything else. Although I'm not entirely certain about that. But I'm pretty sure all he does is streaming now. Oh, we can get staircases today. Nope. Gotta use the new trick. Control Shift. Is that working? There we go. This was a great change to the game, and I'm pretty sure it's thanks to Cord. Pretty sure he's the one who mentioned it to CA to be able to control click and buy 25 stacks. Buy in 25 stacks. It's been very helpful for me. And then also Habu mentioned about the forge items that get rid of the tilled soil underneath them, and that got fixed as well. And unfortunately I was pretty much done with forged items at that point, but it did help for a few harvests. Basically all of last year I was growing fall seeds, so I was able to get a lot more of that than I would normally be able to. I didn't have to do as much work, be the better that. I'll just keep this here for now. Okay. I don't think they would care, unfortunately. I've tried to talk to them about Stardew before, just for fun. Yeah, they're definitely into other games. I do talk to them about video games sometimes, though. They like to talk about Call of Duty and Fortnite and Apex and whatever else they're playing. I think they're a little young to get into the whole farming simulator type of game, which I totally get. When I was 14, I was definitely playing Call of Duty and Halo, so... and this is, in particular, kind of difficult to explain to someone that you do this. I've told them I've streamed before, even though I just kind of started recently. Not that I would tell them exactly my name or anything like that. Okay, so it's Sunday. We gotta go to the island still. Pam was about to go in the jungle. Yeah, so I guess to answer your question, no, they don't know about it, but that's mostly because I haven't tried to explain it. It seems difficult. Oh, that's really great to hear. Yeah, I know there's plenty of people, I'm sure, that love this game that are in high school or around that age, and I'm glad to see that. I guess it's just the people that the school I work at don't. I guess is probably the best way to put it. At least none of them I've talked to have known anything about Stardew. I talked to them about anime a lot, which is fun. Surprising amount compared to when I was in high school and no one talked about anime. At least not openly. I've definitely talked to a lot of my students about Stardew before I've mentioned it, because they always ask me, like, what video games do you play? And just none of them have ever heard of it yet, so if they had heard of it, I might have mentioned the challenge for sure. Yeah, the meta for game switches states. Okay. I haven't actually thought about that, but yeah, it would make sense. Yeah, I live in Michigan, so I guess it's probably different up here than it might be down in Florida or wherever else anyone lives. California. Yeah, it also might depend a little bit on the type of school you go to and everything, and you live with. So I work at a school in downtown Detroit. Well, not downtown Detroit, but Detroit. It's a very low-income area, and I love all my students and everything. But yeah, that's definitely different than when I used to work in a very upscale school. Well, not work. I was a student teacher when I was learning how to teach and everything. That's just a very different environment. You're surrounded by a bunch of very different people, so that might change things a lot too. It's kind of weird to think about, like, how much of that can affect a person in their life. Like, but yeah, everyone enjoys different things, and a whole bunch of different factors. It's already so late in the day, so we're gonna go ahead and grab. Yeah, Monster Musk is worth it. I know for a fact that they absolutely love TikTok. That's for sure. Because they're on it all the time, so instead of listening, they should be. Yeah, TikTok seems to be the go-to thing right now. I have never actually tried it before. I'm sure it would be, like, okay, but I don't go on social media that much at all, so probably not a thing I'm interested in. I guess Twitch is technically a social media, but very different kind of social media for sure. Yeah, when I was in high school, the big thing was Facebook. It had literally just came out when I got into high school. Like 8th grade, I think, is when it first came out, and it became available to everyone when I got into my freshman year of high school. So everyone had a Facebook. Very different site back then. Everyone who was on it was, like, young. I wonder if that's what's gonna happen to TikTok. In, like, 15 years, or, sorry, wow, not that old yet. In, like, 10 years or so, everyone on TikTok is gonna be, like, in their 60s. That'd be an interesting change of pace. I mean, if it does the same thing Facebook did, that's kind of what happened to Facebook. Everyone who used Facebook at first was young, and now I barely know anyone my age that still uses Facebook. But the people who do use Facebook are my parents' age, so my parents use Facebook a whole lot. Even though they didn't touch it at all when it first came out. I guess that's not exactly what happened to Twitter, though, so maybe that isn't exactly what's going to happen to TikTok either. Sorry about that. you get used to the speed boost from the Savage Ring, you feel so slow when it goes away. I keep thinking my food buffs ran out or something. But, oh, just haven't killed an enemy. That's 3 seconds. Oh, the golden clock was not a luxury. That was the thing that... Well, it wasn't the thing that held me back from perfection, but it took the longest, for sure. I didn't get one for the longest time, so even when 1.5 came out, even though the golden clock had been out for over a year at that point, like, in real life, I still hadn't gotten one, because it was just like, okay, I don't need this. It doesn't actually do anything. But then suddenly perfection required you to have one. I always spent my money as soon as I got it, so I never had like 10 million on hand to buy one. I haven't even noticed that like my farm is full of debris, even when I didn't have the golden clock, because I pretty much fill up every single tile. Like occasionally something would grow and destroy one of my paths, but it was rare. Before 1.5, the golden clock was just like a flex item. Didn't actually really do that much. It like stopped debris from spreading, but that hardly matters when you have a full farm already. Oh, come on. I guess if you got a golden clock early enough, though, it would be pretty useful. Ah, okay, yeah, that would definitely do it then. Yeah, if you keep sleeping days in a row, yeah, your farm is probably just full of trees. Unless you cleared all the trees, then it's just full of rocks and wood. Yeah, I always love to look at, when people do community center runs, they like sleep for months on end, and their entire farm is just full of trees. It takes like a minute to get to the bottom because they're just cutting all the trees. Oh wow, you lost iridium sprinklers? The debris spreading? Oh yeah, that would definitely suck. Yeah, you don't want that. I honestly didn't even think that could happen. Thought it would be like, it wouldn't break expensive things like that. I thought it could only destroy pathing. In the winter now, I plant fiber seeds. They can grow through the winter, and it keeps my elect speed grow, so I don't have to reuse it here. And so, even if I didn't have a golden clock, it technically would not grow debris on my fields, because it would just keep the fiber seeds. So maybe that's something you can do. Fiber seeds are a little expensive, which is annoying, but I found out a neat little trick to it. You need clay and you need mixed seeds, and those are really the factors that hold you back. But if you need a lot of clay, you can bomb the mines. So if you just take some bombs and go down to floor 53, and then just keep resetting that floor and keep bombing out the space. It's a very large space, so just a few bombs will get you a lot of clay. You can get tons and tons of clay from that. I used to worry about clay, and then I started bombing the mines, and now it's just, I have too much. I can't go away from fiber seeds now. Yeah, I remember fishing used to be really tough for me. It probably is again, because I haven't fished in so long, now that I basically just use the fish ponds. I still need to catch the secondary legendary fish from the Q quests. Those stack, so that's fun. So I can only get those on the quest, but it turns out you can keep on catching the same one over again. So I need to plan out exactly how I'm going to do that, but those are the only hard fish I still need to catch, really. The monster eradication goals took me a long time when I started going for it. Yeah, it's going to kind of suck. I don't know, I'm kind of looking forward to actually fishing again, because right now it's like factory farming fish to get the stack of 999. So it is kind of nice when I actually get to play the fishing minigame again, even though it is a little annoying. Okay, end of the day. Yeah, it helps when you have full fishing and you've got a master rod, an enchanted master rod, and a trap bobber. It becomes a lot easier when you have those things. And a fishing buff. With a master rod and a fishing buff, your fishing meter fills up like half of the actual thing. So it's not actually that bad. Oh, fish day. So now you get to see my life as a fisherman now. Which is literally just me emptying these ponds for 10 minutes whenever they fill up. Before there was fishing ponds, I actually finished catching 999 slime jacks. So there was one fish that I before that I didn't cheat. That I actually straight up just caught 999 of them instead of doing this. So I'm very close to being done with sunfish. So it's gonna be like this harvest and maybe like 3 more. Even more than that. I have to see how many I get from this now. Not exactly fair to say I'll be done with sunfish, because I still need the row, but I'll be done with catching them at least. I can just leave the pond on 10 and collect it. Bream's gonna take a little longer. It's half as fast, literally, because it produces every 2 days instead of every single day. I actually started Bream first, but I'm gonna finish sunfish first. Alright, Prop, thanks for stopping by. It was great to talk to you. Have a good day. Glad to hear it. It's always nice to have someone to answer questions to, instead of just talking to the endless void. See ya. So today's a Monday, so I need to go see what my new Q quest is. Probably gonna be my last day, because it's about dinner time. Kind of started this stream as I was already doing this challenge, so part of starting this stream was just like, oh yeah, I can also stream it while I'm playing whenever I decide I want to play it. How long have I been streaming for? Dang it. Oh, there it is. So just an hour and a half, huh? These are always the most boring days because I just gotta sit here and fish. Scratch that. These are the second most boring days. The most boring days are when I have to open treasure troves for an hour straight. At least I don't have to empty these as well. That would be a long time. So these 3 ponds have a little bit less because I wanted to finish baked fish by the end of last year, and I managed to do it, but I didn't have quite enough bream, so I just took a few extras. Yeah, so sunfish done in 2 harvests, I think. That's a little less work every day. Do some row work. Felt slow for a second. Buffs run out so quickly. It's already 1:30, so not that quickly. Morning chores are getting longer and longer. Some days where my morning chores seem to last the entire day. As I slowly start to finish things, I get to do less and less stuff every morning. I did some of those not... Oh, because I just walked past them and I accidentally grabbed them while I was above. The island. Wait. Not the island. Not yet. Gonna have to buy starfruit seeds soon. possible this was done yesterday and I just... That's not the case, but definitely possible. Okay, I'm gonna go put these starfruit away first. Before I go to the island. Dang it. I recently changed my walking pattern here. I used to go down to this one, and it's definitely closer. There's a chance I run into a fiddlehead fern here, so now I just go this way. It's still, I think it's only slightly slower. Realistically, I should only do it like 2 times a week. I maximize my finding a fiddlehead fern. Maybe I'll adjust to doing that. So much easier to remember doing the same thing every single day. No water sparklies. Actually unusual. Okay, so that's all the morning, in air quotes, chores that we had to do today. I guess today we just do some more bone fragment mining. That's a little bit boring. Yeah, we might as well finish, since it's probably gonna be my last day, I'll finish it off with a bang. We'll go bomb the mines. That is something I still need to do. Those. And put that on. And let's hope for a lot of dwarf computers. Dang, no dwarf computers this time. Come on. Oops, wrong one. Lucky. Dwarf computers. I definitely should have gotten one by now. that's annoying. Please don't do that, slimes. Nothing. Oh, I got 2 dwarf computers. Oh man. That was an insane floor. Spoke way too soon. Gonna run out of bombs, huh? Well, that's why you're here, friend. This guy's such a liar. I don't know what private property is, but I'll sell you things for money. Scammer. Wrong floor. Used to it. Okay, that friendly little sprite almost killed me by blocking me there. Like, I can just outrun the bombs. Built a hole. Not a great haul so far. I was kind of hoping for more. But we can keep it up. We got a few hours of, well, not daylight, but awake time might be the better term. Oh god. They're so annoying. Oh, there's a dwarf computer. Good to see. A slime egg. We prefer to take this piece of gold ore. Okay, so I can probably do it twice more before I... Well, before I have to get back, because I don't want a full inventory. Pass out. Another strange doll. I really shouldn't be getting strange dolls at the same rate that I'm getting dwarf computers. Dwarf computers are supposed to be like 5 times more likely. Not that I'm complaining too much, because I need the strange dolls the same quantity. but it does feel a little bit weird. Okay, that's it. Gallium. Let's see what we got. Iron. Stone. Here? No, it's... Oh, it is under here. It's not worth holding these, just in case I pass out before I get there. And time. Okay, so I think that's all I'm going to do today. Put up my pretty little screen here. Oh, it's so cute. Alright, so here's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to send you all over somewhere. Go ahead and see who I'm following that's available. Stardew Valley streamers would be cool to see. Unfortunately, I'm not really seeing any Stardew Valley streamers that are on right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and raid my friend who's watching me right now, incognito style. In approximately, wait. Hey. So we're gonna head over there in just a second.
What's up, guys? You okay? You okay?
Thanks for the raid, my friend.